Wholeness, welcome to Notes of Nara. It's evening now. Don't worry, I haven't been making videos all day. My living room is turning into a collapsed library, and I'm trying to keep it nice and tidy. And it's just not. It's not. It just looks like I have special education stuff for grad school. I've got a whole nother class I'm taking. I have two laptops. It's just whatever. But I'm inspired. I wanted to I need a break before I go meditate. I need to just share this with you. Okay, so um, I was watching a clip because while I'm answering emails and all this other stuff, I like a little background noise, and so I was listening to this video of a woman healing from a tumultuous experience that she had, and she was talking about forgiveness. And I don't know if you watch my other videos on forgiveness, but me and forgiveness have just been kind of like, ugh. It's almost like the superficial healing. Superficial healing, I've been kind of guilty of that. Like on the surface, it's like, oh, okay, let me write a letter to this person that has caused me harm, or it just wasn't a good experience, and I'll read this letter out for a month. And I've done that. I've suggested this practice to many other people, and it does work it's a nice little piece to the puzzle, right? The puzzle that is forgiveness, because forgiveness is like an event has fragmented you and shattered you, and so forgiveness, it begins to mend things and pull things together, right? And so all the puzzle pieces come together, and it no longer looks fragmented, but then it looks like one solid picture, one solid image, right? And I did this practice in 2023 for about a good solid 30 days, reading this letter out, reading it, and I still felt angry. I still felt hurt. And for me, healing isn't just meditation. Healing isn't just reading books about doing better for yourself. Healing isn't just venting to friends and family. Healing isn't just watching videos on how to, self help videos and stuff like that. Healing isn't just saying, I forgive you. It's all of those things, right? It's all of those little pieces of the puzzle that come together to heal. And the biggest thing, they say time heals all wounds. I necessarily really don't believe that, because it all depends on how you perceive time. Time is cyclical in my point of view, and we are programmed to believe that time is linear. There's a B, C, beginning, middle, end, 1, 2, 3, and really it's all simultaneous. And why do I say that? Why do I say that cyclical time is the forefront of my mind? Because it's like when you are sitting in the present moment, like let's say in meditation, and then you have a memory that pops up, and that memory can be so strong and so powerful that it triggers emotions, and then you find yourself going down this rabbit hole of a memory, and you begin to relive the feelings in that moment again, right? Or it's almost like oh gosh, what do they call that? Oh, it's when like arrested development, right? Like you just kind of, you're mentally stop growing, but your body continues to grow into an adult, but you have like the mentality of like a 13, 14-year old, and you're stuck there. You're stuck at the event where it was traumatic for you. And we all have those moments. And so I find that we actively are very cyclical with our time and time itself, because we're always reliving memories. That's one of the reasons why we suffer. So how does this tie into forgiveness? A lot of the time, what's unhealed is that we keep going back to these different timelines, cyclical, the cyclical timeline over and over. Cyclical timeline, that's funny. Cyclical time, right? over and over and over again, we keep revisiting and we keep reliving, and then we'll leave that back into the present moment, and then we'll go into a future moment, right? The potential of something that could happen, good or bad, happy, sad. We go back, and then we go to like a present potential of something happening. And, meditation is a good practice to observe this in yourself. But man, I come to realize it's not about forgiving the other person. And I remember a comment in one of the videos I made about forgiveness, right? The soul asks us, it's all internal, truly. It's internal so that you can realize that we're all one, that it's part of wholeness, it's part of togetherness, complete unification, complete union. There is no separation. And so the soul asks us to forgive ourselves, to release ourselves from the burden. I always thought in order to liberate yourself, you detach that person from you by externalizing. I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you. It's not about that. It has nothing to do. That person is gone. And I'm not talking about romantic relationships, just that. It's anyone who's done you wrong, right? And it ended ugly, or it ended in silence. And, just not a lot of closure. It's closure on my part now. Like, truly, it's very much moved on. But it's true forgiveness is forgiving yourself. And what does that mean? And it's really deep, because then it has you look at yourself and your own weaknesses, the things that you've done. You've taken accountability. And I'm not talking about blaming yourself, for choosing that partner or doing this or doing that. It's not about blame. It's about the ability to respond to what's fragmented in you before we go that extra mile and say, you did this to me, you said this, you did that, you made my life a living hell, you. We do a lot of that. You are abusive. No, it's like, no, I forgive that Naja that accepted such an energy into her space. I forgive myself for lowering my standards, or I forgive myself for reacting in such a negative way, right? In that situation where I should have just closed my mouth and left. I forgive myself for putting that person's needs first before my own. I forgive myself for putting my inner child and exposing my inner child to someone who demanded my energy, my time, my effort, to someone who was unworthy of receiving the best of me. I forgive myself for giving the worst of myself to the other. Because we oftentimes will blame the other person. And this is not to excuse any negative behavior that person has committed towards you. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is liberating, truly liberating yourself. And I find that that's what the soul is wanting you to do. Not to just, because I put so much pressure on, like, okay, I forgive my mom, I forgive my dad, I forgive this person, I forgive that person. It's like, stop. It's not the other person. There's something in you. You have to look at yourself. You do. And I find that forgiveness really ties in with the inner child. Because a lot of the time when we are harmed emotionally, it's almost like, or we put ourselves in harm's way emotionally as adults, it's because you know, we don't really know our value and our worth. We have low self-esteem. And then we're shocked. We're shocked and so hurt and so, like, caught off guard when we feel injured. You know what I'm saying? Like, how could you do this to me? How? Well, and it's like, these are parts that have already been wounded inside you. This is nothing brand new. You know what I'm saying? A lot of what triggers us and hurts us has been done before a long time ago. And through the experience that you have with another person, it's just pulling that hurt out of you. So if anything, I give thanks to the individual or individuals that have caused harm to me. Because with this realization now, I'm like, oh, this is something unhealed in me. And now it's an opportunity for me to love that part of myself, to apologize to myself for abandoning myself. A lot of the time especially when we're in toxic relationships, family, friends, romantic, it doesn't matter, but toxic relationships with other people that we love and care for, oftentimes we do so because it's like, I don't know, lost my train of thought. It'll come back. But it's just it's an odd thing. It's an odd thing that happens. It's like I used to believe that I had to actively, it was all about the other person, and it's not. It's not. It's about how you liberate yourself. And the soul is a great guide to help you back to feeling whole again, not the other person. Forgiving the other person isn't going to get you off the hook for doing your inner work. Oh, okay, I know. Forgive and forget. I forgave that person. I'm good. Are you really, though? It's about forgiving the parts of yourself that would tolerate that kind of bullcrap, that would not speak up when you needed to, that would overreact, right? Or lower yourself to match that energy, or react in a harmful way because you're trying to, you're actively trying to protect yourself. And so sometimes, like in an unhealthy argument, you're like, argh! Because you're trying to protect yourself, the wounded part of yourself, right? And you have to take the time to forgive you. And I finally think that that's a huge breakthrough for me, is this forgiving the self and what that truly means. Because through self-forgiveness, you forgive other people. You forgive you, you begin to forgive all outside of yourself. And people believe that, when the word self, well, you're just selfish. And no, it's not. You have to do the inner work. You have to commit to doing the inner work within, not seeking validation, confirmation, and approval from the other. Like, hey, guess what? I forgave you. Like, look at me. I forgave you. I set you free. And it's like, no. Because forgiveness is huge. It's love. It's a form of love. And so it's like loving and forgiving those parts of myself that I've let down, that would put me in a certain relationship or a certain situation that I didn't really want or shouldn't have been in, but I chose to be there, right? And so, yeah, I just felt inspired. My mind is tired. I felt inspired to share that with you all because it's really big. Because, when we leave this world, when I leave this world, I'm not taking any baggage, man. Back in 2005, so and so did this to me. No, when I leave this world, this realm, I'm free. I want to be liberated from the baggage. I'll never forgive you. Don't curse yourself. Don't forget, Oh, forgive and forget. No, 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 no. There's nothing wrong with don't forget. Don't forget, because that's how things repeat themselves. We have to evolve past our patterns and behavior. Evolve the behavior by changing the behavior, and forgetting what you've done and the acts that you've committed, because it wasn't just the other person. It's never just the other person. Never. Right? It's always a two-way street, not one way. Two-way street. Okay? Or a whole 6-lane highway if you work in a workplace with multiple dozens of people. It's way more complex because the human experience is very complex. So it's like we all play a role. We're all bouncing off of each other. And the more egoic and separate and cut off you think you are, the more complex it is and the more dense the energy. So one of my life goals is when I'm like, if I am blessed to have a deathbed, and if not, that's fine, I will have to say, side note, that working in a hospital in healthcare it'd be over 3 years, but in general hospital, right, and seeing death up close and how the many intricate ways that we leave the body, it's a blessing, I think, to go very quickly. That's just my personal opinion, but it's a nice thing to have time to say goodbye if you have anyone to say goodbye to. But I will say, if I ever had the opportunity, to linger before exiting the body, I surely hope that I am free of all of the baggage of unforgiveness, because that's something I just don't think is necessary to carry on, And when I think about past romantic relationships, and I know I'm not being too nostalgic. It's not like I'm missing anyone, or I don't get stuck on relationships like that. I just, when it's over, it's over. I guess that's very Scorpio of me. Really Scorpio. I am not one to get like, oh, nah. No. I don't know. I'm just kind of like, not cold. I'm not cold-hearted, but it's like I'm very great with endings, right? When it ends, it's finito. It's done. Fini. C'est fini. There's nothing else. There's nothing. So, God, where was I going to go with that? I must be just winding down now. Where's the period brain? I don't know. I've just been doing work, schoolwork, and work, paperwork that I got behind on. I was stressing out a little bit about it, but it's all good. It's all good in the hood. But I just feel, I don't know, it's like, I don't know how we got to death, but as you can tell, it's a very important thing for me, forgiveness. But it's all about accountability. Like, there's no sky daddy, there's no sky mommy that's going to save you, me, us. We have to make that choice on an individual level. And and if I offend you with sky daddy, sky mommy, listen here, Gotta have a sense of humor. Don't be too serious, okay? There are a lot of people who externalize their worship. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot that you can do with entities and deities and archetypes and stuff like that. Like, there are tools. That's all. Just don't get lost in it and don't make it into a spiritual crutch. And a lot of what I notice in many of the monotheistic sky daddy religions is that, oh, Jesus will forgive, and when I repent, so I'm good, I'm Gucci. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. It's all on you. It's all on me. It's all on all of us to make that choice. You know? So again, I don't have all the answers. I am not your guru. I am not a guru. I am not an ordained priest, priestess, spiritual teacher, leader. If anything, I would run away from that, but the universe has funny jokes. The universe can be quite funny. But no, I'm humble in that way. Like, I don't have it all figured out. I never will have it all figured out, but for damn sure, if I feel motivated and inspired to share the things that I do know or realizations that I have, of course I'm going to share it with you. Why not? Why not? Yeah, like, that's kind of, it's like, I'm beginning to get a lot of things. Things are clicking a lot faster than what I thought they would. Like, I feel like I see things very clearly in a much clearer way than I did even like 6 months ago. But still not having all the answers. I don't know. Maybe that's called faith. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're at peace and you can see things, but you don't know how things are going to come or things are going to go or why things are the way they are. It's like a state of being, I think. And maybe it's just a radical acceptance, like I mentioned before in one of the videos, just accepting where you are. Allow things to be what they are. Make changes if you want a different result, Make choices if you want to change. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I don't think I'd want to be here if I had all the answers. So I desire to be here because I have a curious mind. And I think, I think it's so weird that I feel like we do have all the answers, but we're not meant to have access to all the answers because we wouldn't get the things that we needed to get done. We wouldn't learn the things that we needed to learn. We wouldn't try the things that we need to try. We wouldn't love how we need to love. We wouldn't heal how we need to heal if we had all the access to the secret keys to all of the answers. Things just wouldn't have purpose, So, yeah, I think I was so desperate to get rid of the pain. I was so desperate to not have to have that wound. But now it's like, oh, I need to forgive parts of myself where I let myself down. It wasn't the other person. Okay, this is going to be one more example. I'm going to end the video, but this is going to be kind of a violent example. Think of a friend. A friend says, hey, let's be friends. And you're like, okay, yeah, we'll be friends. And so one day you say something the friend doesn't like. The friend says something that you don't like. And and the friend punches you in the face, just pops you one. And you're like, ow, that hurt. Then you stand there. Then you do something that the friend doesn't like again. Ow! Punch you in the face again. And it's just repetition, just over and over and over and over and over. And then you get fed up and then you hit them in the face. So two very strange people, two people just standing hitting each other in the face, right? And it's getting bloody, it's getting awful. And then you're like, it finally ends up to where both of you aren't friends anymore and you walk away, right? Rightfully so. And then you're like, man, what did I do? Like, why did he do that to me? Why did he do that to me? Just because he didn't agree, right? Or just because she didn't agree? Why? And the biggest question of all is, why would you ever stand there and take that? Why would you, what inside you would lower your standard, lower your value, lower your worth, where you felt the need to stand and continue to receive blows and to give blows? Oh no, but superficial spiritual practices, when you're healing superficially, it's all like, oh, I forgive you for doing this to me. I forgive you for saying that to me. I forgive this. I forgive you for that. And it's like, whoa, hit pause. You played an active part in this too. And I know I might get a little pushback because there are domestic violence, right? And it's like the only way for, let's say, the person, the abuser, or the victim of abuse to leave is when they're ready to leave, until they can't take it anymore, right? And usually it gets so bad, right, that either they successfully are able to leave and protect their life, or they fall victim and they die, they're killed because they attempt to leave, or they never leave and they end up dying anyway, you know? And so it's like, gosh, that's a really tough one. That's a real tough one. But don't, it's so empowering when you begin to see how you like played a role in it. How you played a role in the experience. And it could be gut-wrenching because when you look back, when you're healed and you look back, you're like, God, why did I tolerate that? Why did I allow that? Why did I continue to put myself in that situation? Ew. Why would I ever do that? And it's only when you're out of it, you make that choice to preserve yourself, to protect yourself, your spiritual self, your physical, your life sometimes, right? And then you look back and you're like, what did I do? Where was I thinking? What was I thinking and feeling to be in that, to put myself in that type of experience? Because it's an atypical behavior for me. And your soul is like, like Jurassic Park, the soul is like, you can't, there's something inside you that you need to work on. And unfortunately, this experience is going to pull that out of you. And it's up to you to choose to change and to grow and to love and forgive yourself and do better next time. So simple, because damn, these experiences are very humbling and painful and traumatic, but that's how I feel like that's how I choose to free myself from this, is like really investigating What's inside? What was inside me? Because here's the thing, I'm not giving any passes, bro. Like there's no there's don't give people pass. Oh, it was okay for you to punch me, or it's okay for you to say this to me or do that to me, or oh, it was okay for me to hurt you. It was okay. No, no, no. I'm not excusing that. Come on. This is a higher thinking here, right? That predominantly when you flip it on yourself and you ask yourself, what role did I play in this? Things start to click. And am I ready to forgive myself for this? Am I ready to forgive the broken parts of myself that would put up with this behavior, or that would commit this behavior? It's deep. Like it's way deep. Because there are a few people, in my childhood, and I'm like, man, ooh. But then it's like, what role did I play in that? There are moments in my childhood where I had to sit and watch, where I could do nothing, say nothing. I didn't have the power, and or I felt like I didn't. I was powerless. Like how I'm speaking to you, I didn't speak like this years and years ago. And it's like I have to forgive myself and tell myself, my inner child, like, hey, it was okay. You didn't know or have the tools to stand up for that person. What could you have done? You know? And that's hard. That's a hard thing to do, you know? But rebuilding that bridge with the soul in that way is powerful. Powerlessness becomes powerful. It becomes something else. Those people don't get off the hook for what they've done to you, right? No, what's done is done. What's said is said. You can't change. It's fixed. It's a fixed energy. That's another thing. Choices are fixed. Choices are very fixed energies. That it's an action. You make a choice. It's an action. Not making a choice is an action. It's a fixed energy. You can't just go back in time and unwind it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can't harp on someone and what they've done to you. That one act. It's what's done is done. And the key to healing is just knowing that, like, okay, he made a choice. She made a choice. That choice was a commitment to an action. And they had that right to make that choice. And it was a fixed energy. That act became an act. That act is now a memory. However unpleasant it was. So now it's like, okay, what role did I play in it? All right. Where was I? Mentally, emotionally, physically. How was my health? How was my mental health? How was my relationship with my family at the time? How was my relationship with money? How was my relationship with my creativity? How was my relationship with food and just everything? And then you begin to get the full picture because it's super hard at first when you're too wounded to you have to give yourself time. And that, I will say, because I mentioned before, time doesn't heal all wounds, blah, blah, blah. I will say this: give yourself the space to feel what you need to feel. The rage, the anger, regret, bitterness, resentment, all of that. Give yourself the space. There shouldn't be a timeline to be over someone. Just like in mourning and in grief. People are like, oh, give yourself a year to mourn. It's been a year. You should be over your this person dying. No, 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 no. Don't let anybody dictate to you when you should be done healing. I had that experience. And it's like it's very disheartening and hurtful. I remember one time it was during a major spiritual awakening in my life, and I met this phenomenal group of women, of people, of healers, and they're all about that girl boss thing, and it was very, very metaphysical and new agey stuff, mindset, philosophy, and they're trying to expedite my like awakening to the point where I was like they're trying to jet set me into where they believed I needed to be. Like, oh, I see your higher self. This is where you are, and this is where you need to be. And it's like, my soul is like, no, that's not where she needs to be. She has a lot. You see the dots in between that space? You need space to get there. People get so obsessed about this ascension to the 5D. Listen, listen, listen. It's not an elevator. Our spiritual evolution is not a freaking elevator. It is incredibly complex. And because of humans, we are complex. So it's just this ebb and flow. It's sometimes you have to go back down to the lower nature, and then which boosts you even higher into your higher self, to your higher nature. Sometimes you have to literally go up like one stage and go down, up and down. Then you go a little bit higher, then you go a little bit lower. That's the whole thing that's so dangerous about this, the whole ascension paradigm. Because the higher you go, the more consciousness and awareness and enlightenment you acquire, that makes you that much stronger to go deeper down into the depths of lower nature. Like, the whole light worker thing. You know what I'm saying? Light workers. Ooh. Oh, I'm a light worker. I'm a healer. Okay, I was on that kick too for a long time. Nothing wrong with it. But usually, as a light worker, you gotta go. You acquire all this light. Why? Not to bask in your own glory. It's to also go down into your lower nature. Because you got to take all of you. You can't just break off from your lower nature and go on this spiritual high, right? It's superficial spirituality. It truly is. That's not true liberation. True liberation is being fearless enough, and you have the tools acquired, right, from your higher nature to also help heal and unify your lower nature. Forgiveness is one of those paths, is one of those things that blend lower nature, higher nature. And, so that's that. I don't mean to make this so long because now I got to go meditate and wrap up my evening. I send love to you all. I truly do. And I'm a big one, yes, on accountability and sovereignty, autonomy. But just know that we're not alone in this. You're not alone in this. Yeah, it's just self-liberation is when you truly can forgive yourself. That's how you forgive others. And it's like, it's one thing when you hear it, it's another thing when you feel it and when you become it. Like, and the real work is when you're able to sustain that, in a grounded, centered way. All right, that's it. That's all I got. Deuces. Thank you so much for tuning in, and tell me how you feel and what you think about all that I've said. I appreciate you if you watch the whole thing. If not, that's okay too. My feelings aren't hurt. All right. Good night.